Yeah, everybody's silent, so I was confused. Okay, great, great then. Okay, today let's get started with discussing about the virtual network and how do we define the subnets. Okay, and we'll also see like what are the types of interconnectivities, okay, interconnectivity models. Okay, so we have a different connectivity models like a VNet to VNet peering and all those stuff. So let's discuss about them first. So before that, okay, let's discuss about what is virtual network. Okay, so as virtual network is like logical unit, okay, within a Microsoft data center, wherein if at all if you wanted to host any resources, okay, so we can create a separate network and we can just host our specific resources into this particular virtual network. Okay, so before I move ahead into the in detail, okay, let me walk you through some of the more details here. Let's say for example, this is your data center. Okay, so let's say I'll take it as an example as a east to west. Okay, so this is your east to west data center, and within a east to west, let's say if you create a multiple you know vnets. Okay, let's say this is my vnet 1. Okay, and same way, let's say if I create one more vnet, I'll say this one as a vnet 2. Okay, and the next thing is, okay, let's say I'll take one more vnet. Okay, so this let's say I'll call it as vnet 3. Okay, so let me take out the names here quickly. So I'll take go with this one. Let's say this is vnet 1, this is vnet 2, and this is vnet. So can somebody tell me, okay, since these three VNets are in the same region, can the resources within these VNets can communicate each other or not? I'm repeating my question. So I have created a three VNets in a single data center. Okay, so that means in a single data center, that is example I have taken as a east to east. And within this single data center, I have created three VNets. And within these VNets, I'm going to let's say I'm going to create a subnets, and within a subnet, I'm going to create a VMs. Let's say an example. Okay, so by default, since they are in the same data center, can these virtual network can communicate each other? I wanted to answer you or either yes, no. Can you hear me by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's too silent. Okay, let's go with the flow. I don't want to ask any questions here. Yeah. So by default, okay, the answer is no. Okay, because okay, they are like an isolated area. So wherein if you deploy any network, even within a same data center, also they will not be communicated each other. Okay, this is very very important even for the interviews also. You might get a scenario saying that I have a three networks, okay, VNet 1, VNet 2, and VNet 3, and I have hosted them in a single data center. So will they communicate each other, or maybe like the resources within the VNets can communicate each other? Okay, by default it is no. Okay, if at all if you wanted to establish the communication between these networks, so we have to do a connectivity like a VNet period. Okay, so maybe let's say I'll draw this way. Let's say here, okay, you have created one more subnet. So then within a VNet, okay, we are going to create a subnet. So let's say here, okay, I'll take this one. Okay, so let's do the same thing for here as well. Okay, so these are all the subnets I'm going to create. Okay, let's say I'll just name it quickly. Okay, this is subnet 1. Okay, so let's say this is subnet 2, and this is subnet 3. Okay, so let's say, okay, within these subnets, okay, I'm going to create a VM. Okay, so we have created a virtual machines, right? Let's say, okay, I'm going to create a VM. So here, okay, I'll just name it as a, you know, here I'll take one. Okay, so let's say here I'm going to create a one more VM. Let's say I wanted to name it as a VM1, VM2, and VM3. Okay, so let's say here, okay, I'm going to create a one more VM. Now let's say uh, So I'll just name it as a VM1. This is VM2 and this is VM3. Okay, so by default, okay, so this is how, okay, we generally create any resources within a VNet and within a subnet, right? So if at all, if I wanted to create a VNet, first I should be having a VNet, and within a VNet, first I will be having a subnet, and within a subnet, I'm creating any one of the resource. Okay, let's say example, I'm taking as a virtual machine. So by default, since they are in the same data center, okay, east to east, the VM1 cannot be communicated with the VM2 at the same time. Okay, so vice versa, VM2 cannot communicate with the VM1 also. Same way, VM1 and VM2 cannot communicate with the VM3. Same way in a reverse way. If at all, if you wanted to establish the communication between these three networks or these three resources, okay, we have a connectivity model called VNet peering. Okay, so if at all, if I wanted to establish the communication between VM1 and VM2, okay, I should be establishing the connectivity, that is VNet peering. So this is very very important. Okay, so here, okay, I can have a peering connectivity only one way and two way also. Okay, let's say if I create a VNet peering, okay, from VNet 1 to VNet 2, at the same time, okay, I can deny the communication from VNet 2 to VNet 1 also while creating the VNet 1. It's all depends on your requirement. Okay, so when you create a VNet 1 to VNet 2 pairing, I can just connect to VNet VM2 from a VM1, but at the same time, if you deny the connectivity from VNet 2 to VNet 1, you will be not able to connect back to this VM1 from a VM2. Okay, it's a one direction communication we are allowing. Okay, same way, let's say I'll ask one more question now. I have a VNet peering connectivity. Okay, that is like a VNet 1 to VNet 2, and at the same time, okay, so I have a peering connectivity from VNet 2 to VNet 3 as well. Okay, so now tell me, let's say here, okay, I'll type as a VNet peering. Okay, so I have a VNet peering communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2 and VNet 2 to VNet 3 as well. So can somebody tell me, can VNet 3 resources can communicate with the VNet 1? This is also one of the very important interview question, by the way. At least it's no. Okay. Okay. So answer is yes, but the real answer is no. Okay. So by default, because what is happening is we are just establishing the connectivity on a specific network level. Okay, if you are establishing the communication, that is VNet peering, okay, from VNet 1 to VNet 2, the only resources communicate from 1 to 2, same as here 2 to 3. It doesn't mean that, okay, so 3 can communicate with a VNet 1. Okay, if at all, if you wanted to have a peering connectivity between again VNet 3 and VNet 1, again you have to separate connectivity, you have to establish from VNet 1 to VNet 3. Once again, I'm repeating, this is very very important. Okay, even in interviews, okay, you might get this particular scenario. So whereas, like, they might ask you, okay, from the beginning, I'll tell you now, let's say this is a one more VNet peering connectivity between VNet 1 2 and VNet 3. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so now if you see here, so I have a three VNets. Okay, I'm just repeating from the beginning. So by default, if you create a multiple virtual network in a single data center, so they will be not able to communicate to each other by default. Okay, this is one of the interview question that you might get, whether they can be communicated by default or not. By default answer is no. If at all, if you wanted to establish the communication, we'll go with the a concept called VNet peering. So when you do a VNet peering between VNet 1 to VNet 2 and VNet 2 to VNet 3, so VNet 1 resources can communicate with the VNet 2. At the same time, VNet 2 resources can communicate with the VNet 3. But it doesn't mean that, okay, VNet 3 and VNet can communicate each other. So if at all, if you wanted to achieve it, so again we have to set up any additional VNet peering connectivity between 1 and 3. Okay, so these are high level concepts, okay, we generally follow specific to VNet peering. And let me go back to here. Okay, so this is what, okay, I was talking about. Okay, let's say this is like subscription A and this is subscription B. Okay, so we can have a peering connectivity between multiple subscriptions also. Okay, so just now I was talking about, okay, so this pairing connectivity between in a single, let's say these are all in a single subscription or a single data center. Okay, so we can have a connectivity between global network also, like a different regions. Let's say, okay, my VNet 1 is in a east to east, and this particular VNet 2 is in a central India, and VNet 3 in somewhere in a west Europe. I can have a pairing between these three networks. So that pairing we call it as a global VNet pairing. I'm repeating again. If at all, if you are setting up a pairing connectivity between the virtual networks which are hosted in a different data center or different regions, we call it as a global VNet pairing. Okay, so let's come back here. So this is what the scenario. Okay, so one more scenario. So whereas like you have a two subscriptions. Okay, this is subscription A, and this is the another subscription and subscription B. Okay, and if you see here, so within a subscription A we have a VNet A and VNet B, and VNet A to B, okay, we have a pairing connectivity and it's a bidirectional communication. That means, okay, VNet A to B and B to A, okay, we have a communication. Same way, here we have a one more, VNet, okay, that is VNet C, which is hosted in a different subscription. We can also perform the VNet pairing, okay, for the two different virtual networks in a different different virtual networks in a different subscriptions and different tenants also. Okay, which is also possible. Okay, we'll also see all these scenarios today. Okay, how do we set up this particular pairing connectivity and how do we test it? Okay, so this is on a high level about the pairing connectivities, and we also have a two more important connectivity models, that is like a site to site and pine to site. Okay, so here you could see on the left hand side, so S to S is nothing but a site to site, and P to S is nothing but a pine to site. So we'll talk about those scenarios. Okay, why do we use the site to site and pine to site maybe tomorrow. So for today, let's complete this particular setup. Okay, so that is VNet pairing. So let's come back here. So this particular VNet and subnet, okay, how do we define? Okay, we have already seen. And before we go ahead and discussing about the VNet peering, so let's go ahead and create a VNet, and we'll see what are all the features which are involved into while creating a VNet. Okay, so here, okay, I'll quickly describe the connectivity models here. So we have a VNet peering, we have a global VNet peering. Okay, so VNet peering is same as like a same regions. Okay, so establishing the connectivity between two networks, okay, in the same region. Okay, so this is for the different regions. Okay, same way, okay, we also have a VNet to VNet pairing. Okay, so I'll talk about what are the difference between what normal VNet pairing and VNet to VNet pairing. And in addition to that, okay, so we also have a site to site and a point to site and express route. Okay, so these are the additional three different connectivity models. If at all, if you wanted to have a communication from your on-premises network to Azure network, okay, so these are the three steps, okay, which we follow. So these three belongs to within Azure, and these three from your on-premises network to Azure network. Okay, so we'll have a detailed demos also on these three topics, like point to site and this remaining four, because site to site and express route, okay, so these are like you should be having a on-premises setup. So for that, okay, I'll walk you through this process, but as a lab, okay, we cannot achieve it. Fine. So first, okay, let me go ahead and create a virtual network, and let's see what are all the features which are involved while creating a virtual network. So let's go back here, and I'll create a resource, and I would say virtual network. Okay, so here you could see, okay, create a logically isolated section in a Microsoft Azure with a networking service. Okay, and you can go through this particular technical detail documentation. If at all, if you wanted to navigate to the Microsoft document, here you can come to this usage and information, and from here, okay, you can navigate to the documentation. And if I go back here, and here you could see, so I'm into the Microsoft documentation page. Okay, you can see the multiple scenarios and multiple concepts here. Okay, for monitoring and for creating and creating a virtual networks, and about the virtual networks, everything you can see. How do we secure the traffic and all those stuff. If I come back to the overview page, okay, here you could see what exactly this virtual network is all about, and it is a 5 minutes reading document, and it is modified last year. Okay, so it's a fundamental building block of your virtual network, private virtual network. By the way, I forgot to mention, whatever the networks that you create, okay, within a Microsoft subscriptions, they are like private networks. So VNets virtual networks are like we are going to create a private network. Okay, so here you could see detailed documentation, what exactly what and what are the additional features. And let's go to the create a virtual network via portal. Okay, so here you could see they create a virtual network using a portal. Okay, so what are the prerequisites? How do we create it? Okay, so you can just go through the detailed steps. Okay, let us go ahead and quickly do it now for now. So I'll go up. So here I'll just click on create. So here, let's say, okay, I'm going to create a two new resource group, and I would say, excuse me, virtual network RG01. Okay, and I'll name the virtual network name as like you know, let's say I'll just name it as a VNet one. Okay, and I'm going to host it to let's say in a East US. Okay, so these are the primary details okay that I'm passing here. And with respect to VNet naming, okay, there are no restrictions. Okay, we can give any one of the name. Okay, so let me go to the IP address here, and we have discussed in the beginning like here whatever the IP that we are going to use passing here. And with respect to VNet naming, okay, there are no restrictions. Okay, we can give any one of the name. Okay, so let me go to the IP address here, and we have discussed in the beginning here whatever the IP that we are going to use, this is like a IPv4 IP address. Okay, it's a 32-bit IP address, and we are not going to use the IPv6 at this moment. And if you see here, so by default it is taking 10.0.0/16. So when I take a slash 16, okay, we have seen how to calculate it and how many IP addresses I will get. Okay, so here if you see, by taking slash 16, I'm getting almost 65,536 IPs, which are starting from 10.0.0.0 to 10.0.255.255. Okay, so these networkings okay will be segregated into multiple subnets. Okay, let's say here I have completely 65,536 IPs, right? So these many IP addresses, okay, I'm dividing into multiple subnets. That means okay, I'm dividing them into different blocks. So that is the concept of subnetting. Okay, so here you could see the subnet address range in the CIDR notation, okay, so minimum starting from /24, it must be contained by the address space of the virtual network. So what whenever you take a subnet CIDR range, right? So the IP should be starting like this only. Okay, so the IP should be within this particular range, and the CIDR range will be like below that. So for now here you could see, okay, we have taken a default one. If at all, if you wanted to make some changes here, so instead of default, I would say subnet one. Okay, and for this, okay, I'm taking a /24, and by taking a /24, if you see, I'm completely getting 255 IP addresses. That means 256 IP addresses I'm getting. Among 256 IP addresses, okay, 5 will be reserved by Aju, and available IPs are 251, which we have already discussed this also. Okay, and while configuring this particular subnets, okay, here you could see so two more options. One is NAT gateway, and one more is service endpoints. Okay, so NAT gateway, network header translation. If at all, if you wanted to configure your subnets for this particular gateway level, okay, we can choose it. So create a service endpoint policy, and we can also see the subnet address range in the CIDR notation, okay, so minimum starting from /24, it must be contained by the address space of the virtual network. So what whenever you take a subnet CIDR range, right? So the IP should be starting like this only. Okay, so the IP should be within this particular range, and the CIDR range will be like below that. So for now here you could see, okay, we have taken a default one. If at all, if you wanted to make some changes here, so instead of default, I would say subnet one. Okay, and for this, okay, I'm taking a /24, and by taking a /24, if you see, I'm completely getting 255 IP addresses. That means 256 IP addresses I'm getting. Among 256 IP addresses, okay, 5 will be reserved by Aju, and available IPs are 251, which we have already discussed this also. Okay, and while configuring this particular subnets, okay, here you could see so two more options. One is NAT gateway, and one more is service endpoints. Okay, so NAT gateway, network header translation. If at all, if you wanted to configure your subnets for this particular gateway level, okay, we can choose it. At this moment, okay, we're going with a none, and we can also configure this particular endpoint, service endpoints. So the concept of service endpoint is like so create a service endpoint policy to allow the traffic to a specific Azure resource from your virtual network over the service endpoints. That means, let's say if you create any service endpoint, okay, so what we are doing is we are just allowing a traffic to a specific Azure resource. let's say from this particular subnet or from this particular virtual network, I'm directly routing the traffic to a specific resource, Azure resource, whatever the services I'm choosing here. Let's say, okay, these are all the services, okay, which are possible, okay, to create as a service endpoint. Let's say here, okay, now I'm going to take a storage account because we already discussed about the storage account. So if I choose the service endpoint as a storage account, so from this specific network, the direct traffic will be routed back to this particular storage account by creating a service endpoint. Okay, if at all if you wanted to learn more, okay, you can just click on learn more and you will be navigated to the Microsoft document here. So virtual network service endpoints. Okay, so here you could see these are all the generally available service endpoints that we can configure, and you can see their benefits. Okay, improved security for your Azure services. Okay, optimal rating for the Azure service traffic and everything you can see, and you can also see the limitations here. So let's come back here. I'm going with a storage account for now. Let's click on create. Okay, same way. Okay, so by taking a slash 24 here, okay, I'm now done with the 255. Okay, it is starting from 0. Okay, if you see here, so that means, okay, so by taking slash let's keep it here to make you understand more better. So what I'm taking here, so 10.0.0 slash 16, right? So by taking 10.0 slash 16, okay, I'm getting an IPs from 0.0.02, 10.0.255.255, right? These are all coming under almost 65,536 IPs. Okay, so among which, okay, what I did, okay, so I have taken a subnet one. So this subnet one, I have taken it as 10.0.0.0 slash 24. So when I take a slash 24, it is starting from 0.0.02, okay, uh, till 10.0.0. Yeah, 255. Okay, so let me give you the brief here. Yeah, so when I take a VNet, okay, this is completely VNet. I would say here VNet. Okay, for my VNet, the IP address I have taken as a 10.0.0 slash 16. So when you take a slash 16, here I'm getting 65,536 IPs, and which is starting from 10.0.0.02. Okay, so 10.0.255.255. So this IP addresses I'm dividing into multiple subnets, okay, for allocating a specific resources. Okay, for the let's say if you are hosting any application, okay, for the front end and middleware and the databases, okay, we can create a separate subnets, and we can create those resources into the specific subnets. Okay, so let's say, okay, this one I'll just name it as a front end subnet. Yeah, front end subnet means whatever the web application, maybe a web server that you're going to create, okay, you're going to create into this particular subnet. Let's say now if I create a backend subnet, as a backend subnet, okay, so we'll be hosting a databases because your database will be uh, in the backend. So now by taking a slash 24 here, if you see, I'm done with the 0 and 255. Okay, here if you see, it is still 255.255. That means it is starting from 0 to 255 here. So here we are done with a 0. So now if at all if I wanted to take a one more subnet, so I should be starting from 1 again dot 0. Again if I keep slash 24, and again it will be starting from 10.0.1.02, same as like 10.0.1.255. That means, okay, here I'm taking a different subnets, okay, according to the IP allocation. If I see here, okay, which is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. Okay, so till 255, okay, we can take a subnets. Okay, that means okay, and an average, okay, we can take a almost 255 subnets here. Okay, when you take a slash 16 as a cider range for the VNet. Okay, this is the maximum cider range we can choose it, and as a minimum we can take as slash 29. Okay, so let's say if I take one more subnet now here, I would say test a subnet. Okay, for this, okay, so as a minimum cider range, okay, you can take it as let's say 10.2.0 slash 29. You can take it as a least. Okay, when you take a slash 29, okay, you will get only 3 IPs, available IPs. Okay, so this is how, okay, we can segregate the IP allocation. Okay, so this is what, okay, I'm dividing the subnets now. Let's say I'll create a one more subnet, and by default, if you see, uh, let's say I'll name it as a subnet 2. Okay, so if I give the same IP address, let's say, okay, slash 24. Okay, here, okay, you will get an error. Okay, the subnet address prefix, okay, overlaps with the already existing one. So if I replace it one here, okay, it will take by default. And the remaining, let's say I'm going with the default. And let's say if I create a one more subnet now, let's say I would say subnet 3. Okay, so here as an example 10.0.0, this time I should be keeping 2 because I already used the 1 and slash 24. Yeah, sorry, I've taken one more 0 extra. Okay, so let's click on OK. So likewise, okay, if you see here, I'm creating a multiple subnets, okay, starting from 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so here you could see based on the IP range, okay, we have to create a subnets. Then next go to the security. And here, okay, so by default, while creating a VNet itself, if you wanted to enable a Bastion subnet, okay, so by default, okay, here, okay, we are going to create a Bastion subnet. If you remember, okay, to enable the Bastion subnet, okay, we are creating a separate subnet called Azure Bastion subnet, and with a specific IP range and a separate public IP, right? So if at all, if you wanted to create it here, you can do it. And DDoS protection. And DDoS is nothing but a distributed denial of services. So whereas if you wanted to provide additional security for your virtual network, so we can enable this particular DDoS. So by enabling this DDoS, okay, so we can you can here you could see, okay, DDoS protection plans is a paid service. Okay, we cannot enable on this particular free trial account, and it's one of the separate paid service offers enhanced DDoS migration capabilities via adaptive tuning. Okay, it will protect your virtual network, attacking a notification and telemetry to protect against the impact of your DDoS attack. Okay, in a simple words to say, okay, it will give the additional security for your virtual network. So if at all, if you wanted to walk you through the document here, okay, you can go through here, and here you could see create and configure Azure DDoS, how to do it. Okay, so here itself, okay, we can just simply enable it, and we can have a highly secured virtual network. So let's say if I enable it, okay, so here it will ask me to enable the ID, but here at this moment we don't have it because with a free trial account we will be not allowed to enable this particular DDoS protection because it's a paid service. And in addition to that, if you wanted to configure any firewall while creating a virtual network itself, okay, we can create a firewall also. Okay, firewall also, like by using firewall, okay, we can have a additional security for your virtual network, and we can create some NAT rules. Okay, so here you could see, okay, we can give the firewall name and the subnet. When you create a firewall, okay, you should be having a separate subnet, and for that, okay, you have to specify the separate IP address here, and we have to create a separate public IP as well. So for now, I'm not going to create any firewall as well, and let me go to the tags, and I'm not giving any tags, and let me review and create. So my validation is done. Let me create this particular VNet. So these are the high level steps, okay, which are involved into while creating the virtual network. Okay, so this is about the high level, how do we create the virtual network, and how do we segregate the subnets. Okay, let's quickly discuss about this particular VNet peering concept now. So for that, okay, let me open a separate paint here. So now, okay, to achieve this particular VNet peering scenario, what I'm going to do now is, okay, so I'm going to create a two virtual network. Let's say this is my VNet 1 and this is my VNet 2. Okay, so let's say this is my VNet 1 and this is my VNet 2. Okay, so in between these two, okay, I'm going to create a peering connectivity now. Okay, so let's say this is my VNet pairing. Okay, so sometimes, okay, earlier, okay, when I done my certification, Azure administration certification, so I got this as a lab. Okay, I'm not sure whether they are giving a labs or not. Okay, so after this pandemic, but if you have a lab is nothing but, okay, when you go with the certification, okay, they will give you some scenario and they will ask you to do what how we are doing, okay, within a portal. Okay, so that time, okay, I had this particular scenario, so I need to establish the VNet pairing between two networks. Okay, so they will give you like a one virtual network and another virtual network details, and you have to create a two VNets and you have to establish the pairing between them. Okay, so for now, okay, so let us go ahead and create this scenario now, and testing the pairing connectivity whether it is working or not. Okay, we'll do it again. Let's say for now I'll go back here. Okay, so I have a VNet one now. Okay, so I'm going to do it in a single region, I mean like a resource group. Okay, this is my resource group, and within the resource group I have a VNet one which is in a east to east. Let's say I'll go with the same region this times. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a one more VNet now, so which I will be hosting in the same region. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a new VNet, and this time I'll just name it as a VNet 2. Okay, let me. So I have a VNet 1 now. Okay, so I'm going to do it in a single region, I mean like a resource group. Okay, this is my resource group, and within the resource group I have a VNet 1 which is in a east to east. Let's say I'll go with the same region this times. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a one more VNet now, so which I will be hosting in the same region. Okay, so I'll go ahead. And create a new VNet, and this time I'll just name it as a VNet 2. Okay, let me create a new VNet, and I'm going to create in the same region, that is east to east. We can go with a different region. Sharing my screen. So Now we'll do it again. Let's say for now I'll go back here. Okay, so I have a VNet 1 now. Okay, so I'm going to do it in a single region, I mean like a resource group. Okay, this is my resource group, and within the resource group I have a VNet 1 which is in a east to east. Let's say I'll go with the same region this times. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a one more VNet now, so which I will be hosting in the same region. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a new VNet, and this time I'll just name it as a VNet 2. Okay, let me create a new VNet, and I'm going to create in the same region, that is east to east. We can go with a different region also, that is not a problem. Let's say I'll go with a different region. Let's say I'll go with the west to east, or maybe west to Europe. Okay, so this VNet I'll just name it as a VNet 2, and the remaining details. Okay, if I go to the IP address here, okay, this IP will be starting with a different now. Okay, here, okay, one is added. Okay, so always, okay, one more prerequisite is, okay, if at all if you wanted to establish the peering connectivity between two networks, the IP address should not be overlapping. Because, okay, here if you see, okay, for the VNet one, the IP address, okay, I have taken as a 10.0.0 dash as slash 16, right? So but whereas, okay, for the VNet 2 I'm taking IP address as 10.1.0.0 slash 16. That means, okay, these two IPs are not overlapping. Okay, they are like a different IPs. If it is like a same as 0 here, you will be not able to do a peering connectivity. Okay, that is one of the prerequisite. Okay, if at all if you wanted to establish the peering, VNet peering, IP should not be overlapping. Okay, let's say I'm going with the defaults here and the default subnet also here. Okay, I'll just simply say it as a subnet 1. Okay, let me click on save, and the remaining details I'm going with the defaults, and I'm creating a VNet 2 as well. Okay, so as part of this particular scenario, what I have taken is, okay, I have created two VNets, that is VNet 1 and VNet 2 with this particular IP ranges, and within this VNets, okay, I also created a separate subnets. Okay, let's me list out the subnets here. Let's say this is the, uh, I have created multiple subnets, but for now, okay, I'll just take it as a one here. Okay, so to create a VNet peering, okay, we really not needed subnets. So let's say this is the subnet 1. Okay, and this, okay, I'll take it as a subnet 2. Though I have created as there as a subnet 1, but let's go with the subnet 2 here. And let's say how do we configure the pairing connectivity now. Okay, so this the pnet pairing connectivity, okay, I wanted to do it as a bidirectional. Okay, so okay, here, and same way here, both the directions. Okay, so bidirectional pairing connectivity I wanted to perform now. Okay, that means, okay, VNet 1 to VNet 2 and VNet 2 to VNet 1. So let's go ahead and do how to do it now. So I'll go to this particular resource group, and if you see here, I have a VNet 1 and VNet 2, okay, which are in a different locations. Okay, when you perform the VNet pairing between the different regions, okay, we call it as a global VNet pairing. Okay, so let's go back here, and I'll go to the any one of the network, and if I go to any one of the network under my settings, okay, here I see a option called peering. Okay, so I'll just navigate to the peering and I will click on add. Okay, when I click on add, okay, I can see these are the options. Okay, so first it is asking for the peering link name. So what I'm doing here, I'm on a VNet 1. Okay, so let's say I wanted to have a peering between VNet 1 to VNet 2, because my another VNet is VNet 2 here. And traffic to the remote virtual network, okay, we are allowing. Let's say, okay, this is what very important. So I'm doing a pairing from VNet 1, right? So this is VNet to become a remote to virtual network. So traffic to the remote location should be, if at all if you wanted to restrict, okay, so here you need to specify the block all the traffic to the remote virtual network. Okay, so if you wanted to allow, okay, you can just allow it. Okay, traffic forwarded from the remote virtual network, that means, okay, reverse way from VNet 2 to VNet 1, okay, we can allow it. And in addition to that, okay, VPN gateways and all other stuff, okay, if you wanted to do it, okay, you can do it. And here we need to give the virtual remote virtual network name. So in this case, okay, the remote virtual network will be like a VNet 2. So let's go back here and do, I would say, VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay, same here. This is I'm doing for the VNet 1 to VNet 2, and here, okay, I'm doing for the VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay, so while configuring this VNet 2 to VNet 1 also, here, okay, I need to choose the VNet 2 here, and I'm choosing the virtual network deployment model. And here, okay, this is my subscription and I need to choose the remote network. Okay, this is my remote network. And these are the options, okay, if at all if you wanted to deny the traffic from the vice versa. Okay, traffic to the remote virtual network, that is like in a VNet 2 to VNet 1, if you wanted to block the communication, you can simply block it. Okay, so this is very important even in the interview also. Okay, they might ask you, like, I have a two virtual networks, VNet 1 and VNet 2, and I have established a pairing connectivity, and it's a bidirectional communication. Okay, and later, okay, they decided that, I don't want a communication VNet 1. Okay, so communication you wanted, okay, network. And these are the options, okay, if at all if you wanted to deny the traffic from the vice versa. Okay, traffic to the remote virtual network, that is like in a VNet 2 to VNet 1, if you wanted to block the communication, you can simply block it. Okay, so this is very important even in the interview also. Okay, they might ask you, like, I have a two virtual network doing for the VNet 1 to VNet 2, and here, okay, I'm doing for the VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay, so while configuring this VNet 2 to VNet 1 also, here, okay, I need to choose the VNet 2 here, and I'm choosing the virtual network deployment model. And here, okay, this is my subscription and I need to choose the remote network. Okay, this is my remote network. And these are the options, okay, if at all if you wanted to deny the traffic from the vice versa. Okay, traffic to the remote virtual network, that is like in a VNet 2 to VNet 1, if you wanted to block the communication, you can simply block it. Okay, so this is very important even in the interview also. Okay, they might ask you, like, I have a two virtual networks, VNet 1 and VNet 2, and I have established a pairing connectivity, and it's a bidirectional communication. Okay, and later, okay, they decided that, I don't want a communication from VNet 2 to VNet 1. I want to only communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2. So how to achieve this? Okay, so by just simply blocking this communication, we can achieve it. While creating a VNet pairing, or later also we can, block this communication. Okay, so whatever how the communication you wanted. Okay, so whether you wanted to allow or deny for the VNet 1 to VNet 2, same as like a VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay, so we can just choose this particular traffic to remote virtual network features, we can, deny the traffic. So for now, let me click on add. And if you see here, as soon as I click and clicking on add, okay, it is setting up the pairing between VNet 1 to VNet 2 and VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay, so if at all if I wanted to validate it, I can just simply come back to my VNet 1, and if I do refresh, okay, here you could see I'm on a VNet 1 level. Okay, so VNet 1 to VNet 2, it is still updating and it is done. If I do one more refresh, this status is already showing as a connected, and it is paired with a VNet 2. Same way, okay, let me go ahead and validate with the VNet 2. I'll go to the VNet 2, and here I'll go to VA pairing. By default, okay, here you could see VNet 2 to VNet 1, and the connection is connected, and paired network is VNet 1. Okay, so this now we are achieved the we have established the communication between two networks, that is VNet 1 and VNet 2, and by setting up this particular VNet peering. So now we have to test the connectivity, right? So to test the connectivity, what I'm going to do now is, okay, let's say I'm going to create a VM here. Okay, let's say I'll create a one VM here and one more VM here as well. Okay, and I'll just name it as a VM1. Okay, so VM1 with a public IP. Okay, let's say, yeah. So I'll create a VM2 without public IP. Okay, so if you wanted to connect to any one of the virtual machines, we need a public IP, right? So in a typical scenarios. So but whereas, okay, so to test this particular VNet peering, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a VM1 with a public IP here, and I will log into this particular VM, okay, by using this particular public IP, and I should be able to take an RDP of a VM2, okay, by using a private IP since I have the pairing connectivity here. Okay, let's test it now. So I'll go back here to the portal, and I'll come back to the virtual network resource group, and let me quickly create a VM here, and I would say Windows 2019 data center. So I'm going to the same resource group, and here I would say VM1, and my VM1 hosted in East to S, right? So I should be choosing the East to S here, and I'm going with the defaults as the rest of the. I don't want the two virtual CPUs. I'll go with the minimal one, and let me give the username as. Azure user. I use some password, and if I go to the networking option here, I should be having a VNet one because I'm creating this particular VM1 under a VNet one. So I should be choosing the VNet one as a default here. So since I have selected the same region, okay, these region VNets and subnets coming as a default, and it is going to create a new IP, that is fine, and I'm allowing the RDP port. And if at all if you wanted to create this VM into the different subnet, okay, I can just drag it up and I can just choose the different network. So for now, let's go with the subnet one itself, and let me review and create. So now what I did is I have created a VM1 with a public IP under a VNet1. So now let's go ahead and create a VM2 also with a public IP, and we'll test the connectivity once they are created. Okay, so I'm just going back to the portal, and let me click on create for now. Yeah. So now I'll go back to the home. I'll go ahead and create a new resource, and I click on this particular Windows server again. And here I'm going to choose the same virtual network. And here I'll just name it as a VM2. And my VM2 is my virtual network 2 is hosted in a West Europe, right? So let us go ahead and choose the West Europe. And I'm going with the minimal sizes here. And here let me pass, the username. I'll say Azure user. And let me give the password. And the remaining details I'm going with the defaults, and let me validate the networking. Okay, I should be creating this particular VM2 in a VNet2 itself. Okay, here I could see the VNet2 and subnet 1 I have chosen, and I don't want any public IP here. So for that, okay, I will just keep it as a none. Okay, so public IP I don't want it to create, and the remaining details I'll go with the defaults. Let's say, okay, I'll just quickly create it. Okay, let me click on create. So now I'm done with setting up this scenario. So whereas I have created two VNets and set up the VNet peering, and I created two VMs. One is with a public IP, one more with a private IP. Okay, so let's say, okay, first I will connect to this VM, and later, okay, I'll try to take an RDP of this VM2. Okay, I'll go back here to the portal. I'll go back to this resource group, and within here I'll go back to the VM1, and let's take an RDP of this particular VM1 for now. Okay, so here I would say Azure user. Okay, here you could see I'm connecting to the VM1. Yeah. So here we go. So I have connected to the VM1. Okay. So let it get load. So in the meantime, okay, let me go back to the resource group. Okay, this is my resource group, and here I should be having a VM2 also. Okay, let me do a refresh. Okay, so here is my VM2, and for the VM2 I do not have any public IP to connect to it. Okay, so let's say if at all if I wanted to connect to this particular VM2 using my private IP, okay, and my local system first I will try. Okay, so I'm opening one more RDP on my local system, and I'm just taking it as a it's a private IP if you see. Okay, 10.1.0.4, and the connection will not be succeeded because by using a private IPs, okay, I cannot directly take a IDP connection on my local system. And by the way, it will not take this much of time. It will give the error. Okay, let me close it. Now, since we have the VNet peering connectivity, okay, here, so I should be able to take an RDP of this VM2 from a VM1. Let's see that how whether it is working or not. So again, I'm going to copy this private IP of the VM2. I'll go back to the within a VM1. Let's close it. Let's minimize this one. And here I'm in a VM1 now, and let me take an RDP. Okay, yeah, so let me click on it, and I'll put the private IP of the VM2. And when I click on connect, okay, it should be connecting. Okay, can you see I'm able to connect to the VM2 from a VM1 using a private IP. Let me try to give the username and password. Can you see I'm able to connect to the VM2? Let me click on OK. If you see here, I have connected to the VM2 from a VM1. Okay, so this is my VM1 IP address, that is public IP, and this is my private IP, VM2 public private IP. So let me minimize this. I'm under a VM1. If I minimize this, okay, so I will be coming out. So this is how, okay, so we can test the VNet peering connectivity. That means what I'm doing now here, I'm establishing the communication between these two resources. That means under these VNets or under these subnets, whatever the resources that you have, they can communicate each other by having this particular peering connectivity. Okay, let's say I come across one scenario, right, wherein I wanted to block the communication. Okay, so I don't wanted to have a communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2. Okay, so I can achieve it, okay, by creating, after creating VNet peering also. Let's say now I will block the communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2. Okay, I'll go back to the portal. I'll go back to the virtual network. Let's say I'll go to the VNet 1. So my requirement now here is I don't want any communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2. Okay, let's come back here. I'll go to the peering connection, and here VNet 1 to VNet option, this one, right? Let's click on it. And here, okay, so you have an options. I can just simply block it. Okay, traffic to the remote virtual network, I'm blocking it. Okay, traffic forwarded to the remote virtual network, block it. Okay, that means I'm blocking the communication from VNet 1 to VNet 2. And let's click on save. Okay, so once these settings are changed, now again if I go back to the VM1 here, and by default if you see, okay, the connection to the VNet VM2 is lost because I have blocked the communication. Okay, let us go ahead and validate it now. Okay, let me minimize this. It is still saving the settings. Okay, if I go back to the pairing connectivity again, and if I do refresh, and it is successfully made the changes. So let's go ahead and validate it now. Okay, I'll go back to the VM2, and from the VM1, if I try to connect to VM2 using private IP, it should not allow us now. Okay, so let's say I'll take it as a MSTSC, and I'll give the private IP. I'm within a VM1 now for now, and if I click on connect, this time it should not allow me to connect because I have blocked the communication. Can you see it is still giving an error? It will not this much of time, okay, for connecting. Can you see? Now let's go ahead and allow the traffic now. I'll go back to the VNet one now, and I'll go to the VNet peering, and from here I allow the connectivity. So I'll just click on allow, and here also allow, and let's click on save. And once it is done, now I'll go ahead and test it here, and it should work this time. Okay, if I click on connect, so those settings, okay, still maybe in progress. So that's the reason it might take some time. So after that, okay, once I come back here and I click on connect again, so I should be able to connect back. Okay, so let's validate the settings here. Yeah, it is done. So let's go back and test it again. Maybe it is taking some time for making the changes. Let's come back here and let's validate it.
అమ్మ తినిపిల్లమా
Yeah, can you see now? I'm able to connect. Okay, so this is how, okay, we can set up the peering. This is very important. Okay, you being as Azure administrator, okay, when you work on a networking level, okay, the peering is the one of the basic like VNet peering is the basic a topic, so which you will come across, okay, on each and every day. Okay, so try to practice it without fail. Okay, so for that, okay, so I'll just quickly walk you through the document here. Okay, so Okay, just try to create a VNet using PowerShell also. Okay, so just make a habit of creating the resources using PowerShell. Okay, here you could see how to create a VNets and subnets. Okay, by using PowerShell, same with the CLI. Okay, so if you wanted to navigate to the connectivity models, just go here and let's say Azure VNet peering. Okay, you will be navigated to the specific document page. Okay, on a same virtual network, but you should know where to navigate exactly. And here you could see the virtual network peering, and here you could see we have like virtual network peering and global virtual network peering. Okay, so virtual network peering is nothing but a connect to virtual network within a same Azure region and connecting virtual network to the across the Azure regions. That is what I mentioned here, right? Okay, so normal VNet peering is something like a same region, and global VNet peering is nothing but a different region across the Azure regions. Okay, so the two type of pairings we have. Okay, so still if I go down, okay, so here you could see the benefits of having a VNet pairing. You could see a low latency, high bandwidth connectivity, and whatever the connectivity that we have, like it's a private connectivity. For now, whatever the connectivity we have done, right? Let's say, okay, here I have a two regions. Let's say this I have hosted in a East US. This I have hosted in a West Europe, right? So, okay, so here, okay, I have a private IPs and the connectivity, whatever I have is like a private communication only. And the traffic also, whatever the routed traffic, it is like a private communication only. Okay, so whatever the VNet peering that you do, the communication which happens is like a private communication only. Okay, and let's say we have a one more concept. Okay, that is like a VNet to VNet peering. So this is like a public communication. This we'll discuss in detail tomorrow. So for today, let's discuss about peering between two subnets. Okay, two subscriptions. So just now we have created a VNet peering in a same subscription, right? So let's quickly do it. How to do it? Okay, in a different subscriptions. Okay, for that I'll quickly walk you through the. Here you could see the some of the documents for the VNet peering. Okay, how do we do it? Okay, VNet A, VNet B, and how do we are connecting with the VNet peering and all other stuff. Okay, and let's say this time I'll go with the Azure VNet peering different subscription. Okay, I'll go to the document. Okay, so here you could see peering connectivity between two resource manager, two resource subscription, two different tenants. Okay, so before I walk you through this, if at all if you wanted to perform as a prerequisite, okay, you should be having uh, what do you say? Okay, uh, required access on both the subscriptions. Okay, so here I could say some let's say some of the prerequisites. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, that is fine. Okay, I'll quickly show you here. If at all, if I wanted to create a VNet pairing, let's say, so this is the scenario now. Okay, two different subscriptions. Just now we have seen how to set up a peering in a same subscription. So in a single subscription, I have shown you okay how to set up the peering. Let's say I wanted to do a pairing between two different subscriptions this time. So how to do it? So to do this, you should be having a minimum network virtual network administrator permissions on both the subscriptions. Okay, so for now, can somebody grant me the permissions on my email ID? Because I should be doing this activity by using a same user account, and this particular user account should have a minimum virtual network administrator permission. But for now, either you can just give a contributor or a owner. Can somebody quickly give me the access on your subscription? Quickly, anyone?
Sure, Ram.
Yeah, Arjun or Vasi. Anyone can give quickly. And my email ID is ajurramakrishna@gmail.com. Okay, let me quickly open my Gmail here, just quickly to accept your invite. Maybe for practicing this particular, VNet peering, maybe in between you can just communicate and just get a permissions. Okay. Let me know once you're done with the granting a permission. Contributing. Yeah, you can give me the contributor.
Can I have the email address?
ajurramakrishna@gmail.com. Can I put it
Ramakrishna
at gmail.com?
at gmail.com. Sure, Ramakrishna at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I have invited you.
Okay, let me do a refresh. Yeah, I got your invitation. Thanks for that. Okay, so Arjun, yeah. So here, okay, I'm just quickly simply accepting his invitation. So here it is asking me for the password. Okay, let me quickly give the password here and let me accept the invitation. So this, establishing the pairing between two different subnets also is very important. So I would recommend you to, coordinate with them among you all and just get access for the single user account and both the subscription and try to practice it. And if at all, if I wanted to validate my access, I'll simply go back to the subscription and I'll click on this particular, subscription name and I'll go to this IAM and here I can just click on role assignment. And when I click on this particular role assignment and I can see who are all having what access. And at this moment, he has given me the contributor access. That is fair enough to achieve this particular scenario now. So let's come back here and let's see what are all the resource group I have it here. I have some resource groups here. Let's say I'll create one more resource group here first, and I simply say it as a okay. So virtual network RG01 itself because I can do it okay because this is a different what do you say subscription altogether. So within this, okay, now I'm going to create a one more VNet. Let's say I'll create a one VNet. Okay, so let's say virtual network. Maybe Arjun, you can be on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, fine. So here, this time I'll just name this particular VNet name as a VNet tree. Okay, just to avoid the confusion. Okay, I'm setting up the VNet pairing between two different subscriptions. Okay, so since I have a VNet 1 and VNet 2 there, so I'll just name it as a VNet 3 and I can go in any other region here. Let's say I'll go with the Southeast Asia and I'll just quickly create it. And before that, let me go ahead and see the IP. And here I have a different IP which is not overlapping with my IPs. Okay, that is fine. Okay, let me click on create. So now I'm done with creating a VNet here as well. So now here, if at all, if I wanted to, okay, so I'm under incognizant mode on my one login and the other login is a normal login. So here I'll go back to the VNet one. I wanted to set up the pairing between VNet 1 and VNet 3 now, which are in a different subscription and different tenants. Okay, to achieve this, again I'll go back to the pairing. And before that, as a prerequisites, once again I'm repeating you should have a access and both the subscription minimum virtual network administrator you should have. Okay, here I'll go to the VNet one and I'll just click on add. And here I'll just name it as a VNet 1 to VNet 3. Okay, and I'll give the same details. Since I was in the same subscription, okay, here, okay, I was choosing and here I was able to choose the subscription and virtual network, right? So this time I should click on this particular separate option called I know my resource ID. Okay, so click on it. So here you need to pass the resource ID of your remote virtual network, that is VNet 3. Okay, so here, okay, you need to give the remote virtual network pairing link also. Let's say this I will name it as a VNet 3 to VNet 1. And here let's pass the resource ID of my remote VNet, that is which is in a different subscription. I'll go to the resource. This is my VNet 3. And within Azure, if at all if you wanted to get a resource ID of any resource, you have to go to the properties. This properties option will be there for each and every resource under settings. And if I go here you could see my resource ID. And this resource ID should be consisting of your subscription and subscription ID and resource group name and the resource type and the resource name. Let's copy this ID, that is resource ID, and I'll come back here and just simply put it here. And whenever I simply put it here, it will ask you for the authentication of your directory also. So let's say this particular directory name is Arjun. Okay, yeah, Arjun AG2021. Yeah, let's come back here. And if I click on directories, so these are the directories I had a subscription access. So don't be panic. So here, okay, I will be searching for Arjun. Yeah, this is the one. And let's click on authenticate. And this authentication is done. And I can just click on add. So here what I have done from the VNet 1 to VNet 3 only. I haven't done the VNet 3 to VNet 1. So to do that, again I have to go to the VNet 3 here. So here I have to come back to the VNet peering, and here I need to add it again. And here, okay, I'll just name it as a VNet 3 to VNet 1. Okay. And here again I say I know my resource ID. Here I will say VNet 1 to VNet 3. And here I need to pass the resource ID of the VNet 1. I'll go back to the VNet 1. And from here if you see, it is just initiated, not yet connected. Okay. Once I do the same activity there also, it will show the connective connection as a connected. Let's say I wanted a resource ID of my VNet 1. I'll go to the properties page and I'll just copy this resource ID, and I'll go back here and I'll put it here. And again it will ask me for the validation of the directory. So this directory name is it's like a Pannala Dixit. Okay, so let's say I'll go back here and I'll choose the specific directory name. Yeah, this is the one. And I'll click on authenticate. And that authentication is done, I'll click on add. So here, okay, when you do a VNet peering between two different subscriptions, okay, so you need to have a resource ID and you should be having a access to on the both the subscription. That is one of the prerequisite. Okay, so here, okay, we are done. We are doing in a separate way. And if you see here, it is now since we did in both the VNets, okay, the status is showing as a connected. Okay, if I go back to the VNet one, and if I go to the peering connectivities again, and here also you could see the status VNet 1 to VNet 3 is connected now. Earlier it was showing as an initiated, now it is showing as a connected. Now what you can do is, okay, since we already have a VM1 here, okay, so you can test the connectivity by creating a one more VM into the VNet into this particular subscription, and you can test the connectivity by connecting to private IP. It will work. Okay, so this is what, okay, I wanted to cover it today. Okay, so specific to virtual network and how do we divide them into the multiple subnets, and what are the some of the basic interconnectivity models like a VNet peering. Okay, if you do the VNet peering in the same region, we just name it as a virtual network peering. Okay, let me keep it as an official word. I will say virtual network peering. Okay, that you do in a same region, but when you do in a different regions, okay, we call it as a global virtual network peering or global VNet peering, you would say. Virtual network. Okay, same way we can also do the pairing between two different subscription, two different internet VNets also. Okay, so that we have seen. And this communication whatever we have seen is like a private communication only. Okay, if at all if you wanted to have a public communication, we'll do the VNet to VNet pairing. This we'll see tomorrow, and this rest other options also we'll see in detail tomorrow itself. Okay, I'll be sharing the document and I'll be stopping my session here. And if at all if you have any question, we can quickly discuss. If not, let's catch up tomorrow. Any questions you have? I see one message here. What are the chances for VNet peering get failed? Is it successful for all time? And what about the firewalls? Okay. So, like, VNet peering failures, like, so VNet peering failures sometimes, okay, you could see when the IP is overlapping sometimes. Okay, so here, okay, on a virtual network peering itself, I'll go to the documents. Here you could see the virtual network peering. And if I come down, okay, here you could see some of the troubleshooting options. Okay, so these troubleshooting, okay, you can just go through. Okay, constraints for the peered virtual networks. Okay, what are all those? Okay, resources in a one virtual network cannot communicate with the front end IP address of the basic internal load balancer. This is like a, some of the additional topics because we did not discuss anything about the load balancer and also. But typically, okay, the challenges that you could face, okay, for creating a VNet peering is very simple. Okay, if the IP is the same, okay, you cannot set up the peering connectivity. Very simple. And if at all if you wanted to create a peering, anyways, okay, you should be having a permission. Okay, so since we had a owner and contributor permissions on the subscription, we went and created it. But typically within our organizations, okay, everybody not having those roles. Okay, so you should be having a specific role for creating this particular VNet peering. And coming to the firewalls, yeah, maybe we haven't discussed about the firewall. Yeah, maybe we'll answer your questions maybe in upcoming sessions. Is that fine? Okay, yeah,
Hello, hello.
yes, yeah, Ravi.
And initially, starting stage, you told me about that and region to region wise, if any get no, like any incident what happened, data will not get lost. I mean, it will get stored to another region.
Hmm?
Is there any interrelation between it pairing for the data centers?
నీ క్వశ్చన్ నాకు అర్థం కాలేదు రవి.
స్టార్టింగ్ లో మీరు చెప్పారు కదండి, ఐ మీన్ డేటా సెంటర్స్ లో ఎనీ ఒక డేటా సెంటర్ లో ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం అయితే కనుక అదే డేటాని మనం వేరే డేటా సెంటర్ నుంచి మనం బ్యాకప్
దాని
తీసుకోవచ్చు.
లేదు అది ఇంటర్నల్ గా మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ విల్ మేక్ ద అరేంజ్మెంట్స్. ఓకే, ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ బి ఇంటర్ రిలేటెడ్ విత్ వినెట్ పేరింగ్.
ఓకే
ఓకే, యా,
ఓకే.
థ్యాంక్స్.